He is every other inch a gentleman. Journalism, an ability to meet the challenge of filling the space. Life ought to be a struggle of desire toward adventures whose nobility will fertilize the soul. It is the soul's duty to be loyal to its own desires. It must abandon itself to its master passion. There is no such thing as conversation. It is an illusion. There are intersecting monologues, that is all. Just how difficult it is to write biography can be reckoned by anybody who sits down and considers just how many people know the real truth about his or her love affairs. Motherhood is the strangest thing. It can be like being one's own Trojan horse. A copy of the universe is not what is required of art. One of the damned things is ample. Nobody likes having salt rubbed into their wounds, even if it is the salt of the earth. Writing has nothing to do with communication between person and person, only with communication between different parts of a person's mind. Any authentic work of art must start an argument between the artist and his audience. A strong hatred is the best lamp to bear in our hands as we go over the dark places of life, cutting away the dead things men tell us to revere. Did Saint Francis preach to the birds? Whatever for? If he really liked birds, he would have done better to preach to the cats. People call me a feminist whenever I express sentiments that differentiate me from a doormat or a prostitute. God forbid that any book should be banned. The practice is as indefensible as infanticide. I wonder if we are all wrong about each other, if we are just composing unwritten novels about the people we meet. There is no wider gulf in the universe than yawns between those on the hither and thither side of vital experience. The memory, experiencing and re-experiencing, has such power over one's mere personal life, that one has merely lived. I myself have never been able to find out precisely what feminism is. I only know that people call me a feminist whenever I express sentiments that differentiate me from a doormat. I only know that people call me a feminist whenever I express sentiments that differentiate me from a doormat or a prostitute. There is no logical reason why the camel of great art should pass through the needle of mob intelligence. It is sometimes very hard to tell the difference between history and the smell of skunk. Before a war, military science seems a real science, like astronomy, but after a war it seems more like astrology. Great music is in a sense serene, it is certain of the values it asserts. Because hypocrisy stinks in the nostrils, one is likely to rate it as a more powerful agent for destruction than it is. But there are other things than dissipation that thicken the features. Tears, for example. Everyone realizes that one can believe little of what people say about each other. But it is not so widely realized that even less can one trust what people say about themselves. All men should have a drop of treason in their veins, if nations are not to go soft like so many sleepy pears. It is always one's virtues and not one's vices that precipitate one into disaster. I write books to find out about things. The main difference between men and women is that men are lunatics and women are idiots. The trouble about man is twofold. He cannot learn truths which are too complicated, he forgets truths which are too simple. Humanity is never more sphinx-like than when it is expressing itself. Mr. James Joyce is a great man who is entirely without taste. There is in every one of us an unending seesaw between the will to live and the will to die. The American struggle for the vote was much more difficult than the English for the simple reason that it was much more easy. International relationships are preordained to be clumsy gestures based on imperfect knowledge. We all drew on the comfort which is given out by the major works of Mozart, which is as real and material as the warmth given up by a glass of brandy.